bring any new revelation. Revelation is the process by which God imparts to man truths which cannot be known naturally. For example, since man was not created until the sixth day, God had to reveal to Moses details reflected in Genesis 1 through 5. The uniqueness of the Quran is also claimed due to the information it presents regarding the past and the future. However, these claims cannot be substantiated. The teaching of the Quran concerning God, creation, prophets, and what have you, were proclaimed long time before Muhammad came. Muhammad brought nothing new. Perhaps some of this was new to his hearers who were ignorant. 99% of them could not read or write. Muhammad's revelation were in no way superior to the revelations given by earlier prophets, and neither did they unquestionably provide evidence of a fresh divine revelation. Theologically, authorities demand that 6 conditions be fulfilled before accepting any supposed revelation can be accepted as true revelation. First, it must satisfy the yearning of the human spirit to obtain eternal happiness. Second, it must coincide with the conscience, which is the moral law written in man's mind. Third, it must reveal God's true attributes. Fourth, it must confirm man's reasoning that God is one. 5, it must make very plain the way of salvation. 6, it must reveal God himself in books, through prophets, and in person. Neither Muhammad nor the Quran fulfill all of these 6 requirements. The Quran may fulfill the 4th partially, and perhaps the 6th. That's about, oh, really? Now, Muslims believe that certain passages of the Quran are mansukh or annulled by verses revealed later chronologically than themselves, which are called nasikh. Ladies and gentlemen, I appeal to your intelligence, please. This is taught by Muhammad in Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 106. ما ننسخ من آية أو نفسها أو ننسها. That's right. Would you act like civilized people? ما ننسخ من آية أو ننسها. Is that what it says? Such of our revelation as we abrogate or cause to be forgotten, we bring in place one better of the like thereof. Knowest thou not that Allah is able to do all things? What is called the sword verse in Surah At-Tawbah annuls 120 verses which originally encouraged tolerance. One tradition has it that Aisha declared emphatically that the Surah As-Saff, the ranks, 61, had 200 verses during Muhammad's lifetime. When Muhammad actually died and Uthman standardized the Quran, the surah had only 72 verses. Incidentally, most any Quran you have has different verse numbers. The number of the annulled verses are so numerous because there are 40 surahs which are plagued with this major problem of a so-called inspiration. This concept is certainly very unacceptable and foreign to an all-wise God. Compare such belief of Muslim theology with what Christ Jesus announced according to Matthew 5:17 and 19. Do not think that I came to destroy the law or the prophets. I did not come to destroy, but to fulfill. Whoever therefore breaks one of the least of these commandments and teaches men so shall be called least in the kingdom of heaven. But whoever does and teaches them, he shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. The problem with the Qibla. Another proof of this strange belief is recognized in that Muhammad communicated to his early followers in Mecca that the Qibla, the physical direction of their prayers, was toward Kaaba. Then he abrogated that once he migrated to Medina so as to please the predominant Jewish population. Now he emphasized to his followers they must turn toward Jerusalem. Surprisingly enough, 17 months later, Allah changed his mind for the second time by commanding Muhammad to look towards Mecca again and no longer Jerusalem when Muslims pray. A man makes mistakes, ladies and gentlemen, and needs to correct them, but such is not the case with God. God has infinite wisdom and cannot contradict himself. We must ask, does God have two Qur'ans if this system of abrogation is valid? We ask again, what does one do with this emphatic declaration in Surah Al-An'am 34? وَلَا مُبَدِّلٌ لِكَلِمَةِ اللَّهِ. And there is no changing or altering to the declaration or decisions of Allah. Muslims claim that the Quran was originally written on tablets preserved in heaven. This concept, however, is clearly borrowed from the Bible, because Exodus 32:16 tells us, now the tablets were the work of God, and the writing was the writing of God, engraved on the tablets. Muhammad professed to have a revelation through Gabriel when it suited his purpose. Many students believe, students of the life of Muhammad, messages came from heaven, were given to justify his political and moral conduct, as well as much of his religious precepts. Battles were fought, wholesale executions inflicted, wives added, and territories annexed under the pretext of the Almighty's command. Now, I want to challenge you. Mistakes in the Arabic of the Quran. You say you speak Arabic. Let's find out. Muslims believe that the Arabic Quran is the perfect, exact representation of Allah's word. That is why only the Arabic Quran is considered authoritative, and why so many Muslims who know no Arabic still feel a compulsion to memorize portions of the Quran in Arabic, although they cannot speak it and communicate with you. However, Muhammad used a number of foreign words or phrases in the Quran, leaving questioners wondering if God's language is deficient enough to need help from other languages. An orator demonstrates his speaking abilities by not borrowing expressions from other languages. How then do we have the opposite in a book which God himself is supposed to have inspired in Arabic? Foreign words. Pharaoh comes from the Egyptian language. Adam from the Akkadian language. Basharan should have been the word, or insan, which are the Arabic words. Ibrahim comes from the Assyrian. A more accurate word will be Abu Rahim. From Persian, we have Harut, Marut, Sirat, Hur, Jan, Firdaus. From Syria, Tabut, Taghut, Malakut, Zakat. From Hebrew, Habir, Sakina, Jahannam, Ma'un. From Greek, Injil, which means Bishara, good news. That is not all. Here is the Arabic Quran with words from Egyptian, Akkadian, Assyrian, Persian, Syriac, Hebrew, Greek, 7 languages. An Arabic reader is astounded also at the obvious mistakes in the following surahs. First, Surah Al-Baqarah 177. The word Sabirin should have been Sabirun, if you know Arabic. Then again, Surah Al-A'raf 160. وَقَطَعْنَاهُمْ إِثْنَتَيْ عَشَرَةَ أَسْبَاطًا should have been إِثْنَتَيْ عَشَرَ سِبْطًا. Surah Al-Nisa 162. وَالْمُقِيمِينَ الصَّلَاةِ should have been وَالْمُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةِ. Then Surah Al-Ma'idah verse 69. As-Sabi'in is the more correct Arabic than As-Sabi'un. Then At-Tawbah فَإِذَا انْسَلَخَ الْأَشْهُرُ الْحَرَامِ should have been فَإِذَا انْسَلَخ, plural. The words kun fayakun are a gross error in Arabic. The grammatical structure demands kun fakan, let there be and there was, not there shall be, as in the Quran. Yes, sir. Going forward, Abraham's father is wrongly called